G'day guys, Sam from the Footy Gods with you again. Another player preview for 2023. This time we're looking at Hayden Young. Really highly rated junior from the Freo Dockers. We looked through his draft year. He was actually drafted ahead of the likes of Caleb Sarong, Tom Green, Michi Georgiades, Schoenberg, Will Day, Cozzy Pickett. So really highly rated player taken with Freo's first pick. Seems to pass the eye test for me as a footballer. Really silky left footer from halfback. So let's go through and have a look at our formula and see if he does fit into our team. So let me just bring up the formula here. Okay. So scoring pedigree. So again, hard to say. He only had his first year of footy, full year of footy last year. So obviously we can't give him a tick on the scoring pedigree, but he did have a pretty good draft year where he pushed up his average to 90 odd points off halfback. So pretty good. So we'll have to watch this space, but I think he does have some scoring pedigree already. But this one, scoring potential. This is really exciting with Hayden Young. Look through his 2022 season, 142. Really impressive for his first full year of senior footy. Managed to get 123 and 139. So the ceiling's there. There's a decent ceiling there. He gets a tick from me there. Scoring potential is massive. If he can drop these numbers in his first full year of footy, that's really impressive. Consistency, how consistent is he? So it's a bit of a strength for Hayden Young actually. Yes, he has a 56 in there, 68, and another 58. But apart from those three scores, pretty solid. He doesn't really drop below 85, 80s at all for the rest of the year. So really consistent pick. Big tick from me in terms of his consistency. Trends. So what sort of trends are we looking at? Hard to say again with Hayden Young, but he's trending upwards. He managed the 8 games in 2021, and he's built on his average definitely last year. So there's some small trends there. Small trends upwards is always a good thing. Not really going to be a VC or a C in our team. You think there'll be better options for sure. He'll play every game, definitely. That's fine. Big tick there. So this is a big one here with Hayden Young. His injuries. So he does have history with injuries. So soft tissue, hamstrings and ankle. So really the two things you don't want to see with a footballer are soft tissue injuries and ankle injuries, and maybe shoulder injuries as well. But ankle injuries really cause alarm bells for me. So this is a big one here. We need to take this into account when we're looking at Hayden Young. Yep, sure, there's a lot of positives here, but this one's a big one. And his role as well. So where does he play in the team? Is he does he push up into the contest and play as a bit more of a midfielder, or does he play as that kick in half-backer? So there are some question marks here for me. We've got to have a look at the preseason games and what he's going to be doing. No problems there. I don't think the coach is going to do anything funky and play him anywhere negative. Onto his price. So is he a value pick? I mean, I think there's potential for value here. Definitely. He could add 10 points onto his average, similar to a Nick Dacos. Makes him a great pick. So there's definite value there. Is he a keeper? Well, that's another positive in his side. He could be a keeper. If he does average, 95 to 100, he gets a tick from me as a keeper at 500k. Team structure, where does he fit into your structure? Again, awkwardly priced in terms of, is he a primo? Do you want him sitting at D2? Doesn't feel great sitting him at D2, if you ask me. D3 probably feels better. So, you might have to sort of answer a few questions there and, where does he fit in? Risk reward. So he is a bit of a risk reward pick. So there's risk involved in terms of just 9% of teams have him, but the reward's pretty great too. So the risk is obviously he's a pod. injury issues, but he does have the reward of his ceiling and his consistency. So it's definitely a risk-reward pick, but I think the reward outweighs the risk on this pick. Let's look at his fixture. Freo's fixture for the year, pretty good to start the year, if I recall. Yep. So the first 5 games of the year, really good. They play basically all bottom 8 teams, and you'd think they'll still be bottom 8 teams, all of these teams. And then it gets a bit tougher. So the first 5 rounds, really good. The next 5 or 6, pretty tough. You got Bulldogs, Brisbane, Sydney, Geelong, Melbourne. So good 1 to 5, tough 6 to 11. So yeah, something to think about. He's got a pretty tough fixture. Taggers, nah, he won't get tagged, you would think. I mean, maybe, but I don't think it's enough for us to worry about it. That's fine. So what are his strengths and weaknesses? So his big strength, I've added this into our formula, is his ball use. He uses the ball extremely well, and we love to see that in SuperCoach. So that will definitely be something to bolster his inclusion in our side, is his ball use. And his ability to find the ball as well. He just seems to, he's got good footy IQ, finds space, and obviously can run. Elite runner. Our weaknesses, obviously his injury history. Injury history really. I can't think of too many weaknesses. Maybe his size. He's quite a slight sort of size. Owner history. Yeah, he might have burnt you in the past before, but we can't be too harsh on a 3 or 4 year player at this stage. Ownership, yeah, percentage. We mentioned that before. So 9% of teams. So there is risk attached there. It could be a great pod, but yeah, you're taking on a bit of risk there with a low ownership. Freo, I think Freo will be fine in terms of how they want to play their fantasy football. There's no issues there, I don't think. So that's fine. Tick from me. So what's my gut feel on the pick? It's a tough one, this one. A really tough one. So clearly you're picking him for, his potential and his consistency due to his ball use and footy IQ. But I think the problem for me is here. His injury history and a bit of a question mark on how he's going to fit into that side. What does it look like with Luke Ryan back there? What do they plan on doing? Jordan Clark's emerging as that halfbacker as well. So I think there's a lot of question marks for me in terms of how that looks in the Freo structure. He looks like a great player. I think in years to come, he's going to be a really solid SuperCoach player, good scorer. But until he can get at least one season under his belt with 22 games, even last year, let's have a look through last year. He even missed a few games. He had a great season, 20 games, but he did miss a couple of games through injury. Pleasingly, he bounced back really well from injury and put out some really nice numbers post-injury, but something to be concerned about. Hasn't played a full season yet. So that's something for me that it really talks me out of this pick. Here's his injury history, along with the question mark on the role. But if you want to take a punt on his ceiling and his consistency, the potential is just massive. So I don't blame you purely on these two things, picking him in your team as a pod as well. So a pod that can go big is always a pretty enticing. So not for me, it's a no from the footy gods, but if you want a pod in your back line, looking for value, he could be the one. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop some comments below, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.